Hi guys, let's discuss today the some previous year questions on the last concept we have discussed, which is the digestion of human body. The first question we will take, which is the MCQ question, which is asked in 2025 previous year questions. Secretion of less saliva in mouth will affect the conversion of. Now you know it already what is the saliva have. It have the amylase enzyme inside it, which will help to break down of what are the options: protein into amino acids, fats into fatty acids and glycerol, starch into simple sugar, sugar into alcohol. The first thing, protein into amino acids, it is protein is broken down by the pepsin and trypsin, which is not again in mouth. Fats into fatty acids and glycerol, it is again by lipase enzyme, which is not again in mouth. Starch into simple sugar. This one is correct because all we know it is a carbohydrate. So what is the answer? Starch into simple sugars is the answer. So now we will have our second question, which is in human alimentary canal, the digestive juice secreted by the gastric glands are. So you have to understand the word here, gastric glands. What they are telling? Gastric glands, not a pancreatic gland and liver they are telling. Gastric glands which are present in stomach. So first, bile, trypsin, pepsin, hydrochloric acid, pepsin, mucus, lipase, bile, mucus, salivary amylase, pepsin, bile. So you know it already, gastric gland means stomach. The stomach releases? It releases hydrochloric acid, pepsin and mucus. So what is our answer? Hydrochloric acid, pepsin and mucus. Now we have our next question, which is again 1 mark and asked in 2024. In human beings, when the process of digestion is completed, first, the protein, carbohydrates and fats are respectively finally converted into. Means what? After digestion, protein is broken down into what? And carbohydrate is broken down into what? And fat is broken down into what? Now what the options they have given? First, with respectively means protein is broken down into amino acids, carbohydrate into glucose, fats are into fatty acids. Second option, amino acids, glucose, fatty acids and glycerol. Third, glucose, fatty acids and glycerol, amino acids, sugar, amino acids and fatty acids. First thing you have to understand, protein is broken down into amino acids, carbohydrates into glucose and fat is broken down into fatty acid and glycerol. So our option is option B is correct, which is telling us amino acids, glucose and fatty acids and glycerol. So protein is broken down into amino acids, carbohydrates are broken down into glucose and fats are broken down into fatty acids and glycerol. So our next fourth question, which is a 5 marks question, which is asked in 2025. You can see there are sub questions they have given in the questions, not directly only one 5 marks question they have asked. Sub questions are asked. First one, the length of the small intestine in various animals depend on the food they eat. Justify the statement. So what is the statement? Length of a small intestine in various animals depend on the food they eat. So which type of food they eat, it depends. Second question, discuss the role of pancreas and bile juice in the digestion of the food in human beings. So what is the role of pancreas and bile juice? Third question, how is the small intestine designed to absorb digested food? So we will go one by one. First answer what we will have. The length of a small intestine varies according to diet of an animal. If it is a herbivore animal, the small intestine will be longer because the herbivorous what food they will eat, it has the cellulose and it take more time for digestion, which is hard. In carnivore, they will have like a meat they will eat, which have mainly protein, and the small intestine is shorter compared to, and it is easier to digest. Now for second question, which is the role of pancreas and bile juice. For pancreas, it is releases pancreatic juice, which contains trypsin for the breakdown of protein and lipase for the breakdown of fats. Now next one we have bile juice. It is released by the liver and helps to emulsification of fat. Now what is the emulsification of fat? Breakdown of fat molecules into fatty acids and glycerol. Now the third question, that how the small intestine is designed for absorption of digested food. So you can see here, this is the skin of the small intestine is already folded, means what, inner walls of the small intestine are folded. On that we have the this finger like structures which will help to absorb the food. Inner walls of small intestine have finger like projection called villi. What we will call villi, which increase surface area for absorption. So villi will do here what, all absorption work. Next our question, state one rule of each following in human digestive system. It is for 2 marks and asked in 2024. So first one is hydrochloric acid, villi, anal sphincter and lipase. First thing, hydrochloric acid, it create acidic medium in stomach. Now what is acidic medium? Because it is released by the stomach walls, again gastric glands, which will help to provide acidic medium for the pepsin, which will break down the protein. Next we have villi. Villi you already know about it. It increases surface area for the absorption. Now we have third one, which is our anal sphincter, which controls release of waste through anus. So through anus, how the waste is released, it is controlled by the anal sphincter. Lastly we have lipase, which helps to break down of the fats. So if you liked our concepts, you can subscribe to our channel and comment for PDF. Thank you.